Hey everyone, this is Monroe Man with Breakdiving. Today we're having a friendly pencil event. Joined today with Ismail in India, MN in Finland, Bety in Indonesia, and Alice in Canada. We might have Ria joining us also from India soon. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to together find a YouTube video tutorial, as we always do, and we'll slowly go through it. And we're going to network issues. Okay, so Ria will join us shortly. So, by the way, here's our YouTube channel, guys. If you haven't, you can always check it out. We're almost at 300 subscribers. And if I go to our channel, Breakdiving, we have a new video that we just posted, which is why we love breakdiving. It's the first of a couple marketing videos we're doing. If you haven't, come check it out. I think you'll find it very inspiring, and hope to see you there. So let's look for, oh, by the way, what do we want to draw? Do we want to draw a airplane, a car, a boat, people, a body? Does anyone have any preference? Nobody cares?
Something big enough.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Okay. Ismail, did you have something?
No, I just said something beginner friendly.
Okay, but I always like to challenge people, but we go slowly enough that literally we tried lots of different things, and we found that even beginners are able to do the more advanced stuff because we go slowly. So let's find something together. Let's just see, let me see, drawing a human body. We haven't done that before, so human body. Let's see if we can find anything. How to draw bodies. And we also need to look at the time. We can't have one that's 49 minutes or 50 minutes. So usually like a 15-minute one. How to draw bodies. How to draw the human figure. And there's Ria. Okay. So that might be interesting. How to draw the human figure. Figure drawing fundamentals. If there's anyone that you like, I think we did this one before, how to draw a face. You can see it's got the red. Learning to draw anatomy in a week. No, we don't have a week. We got an hour. Learning anatomy with reference photos. Drawing the human figure. Anatomy of the human body for artists. Hey, Ria, are you here? I don't know if she joined us yet. How to draw bodies. 9 minutes. Usually you hover over it and it gives us a. I do want to, let me see, drawing fundamentals, figure from imagination, how to draw the female body. I don't think we should be drawing naked people in our first event together with human bodies. We'll stick to the normal one. All right, so if we go back up here, let's just take a look at this.
Hi guys, and welcome to another highly requested and long overdue tutorial on, and with this very latter part of it will be at be in relation. So once we start with more, always try to think of the fact that proportionally lower. It's really hard to explain all of that, but I really hope the thicker outline always take a quick picture to the other body parts. And for the last pose, I want to sketch a girl that is turned to the side. Opposite is that they would be body tutorial. I really hope that you guys.
So you saw that. So that's one possibility. This is option A. We'll find 3 options and then we'll decide which one we like better. So in this one, we'll learn how to draw the basic figure of a woman. And next, let's see, here's one.
Has hundreds of poses of this male and female character here. So I just thought I'd get that out of the way. The link is on the screen and in the description.
That's pretty cool. Apparently there's a website that we can go to that'll give us pictures of all humans in different poses, and then we can just draw them. So this might be interesting because it could give us
say just the deep, right? So I'm just going to drag pretty easy, right? Skull, the rib cage and neck, where kind of add able to reproduce and have babies.
You know what I'm thinking? Maybe we'll do two of them. We'll do this one. Looks like it's a good one to do first because I think it kind of shows the bone structure, and then maybe we'll go back and do the first one. What do you think? Yay? Nay? Let's try that because I think this will give us a basic understanding of the body, and then if we go back up to the other woman's, then we'll actually draw the bodies. All right, so we're going. Rhea wants to come back in. All right. So first of all, does everybody have a piece of paper? It can be any paper. It can be the back of something, whatever. Great. And you need a pencil or a pen. I recommend, if you can, that you use a pencil and test it first on a piece of paper, your eraser. If you can. I've done this before when I had no paper and I did it on a tiny index card and I used a pen. It just means you need to be a little bit more precise, a little bit more careful. But if you have a pencil with an eraser, I think you'll hate yourself left in about 20 minutes when you, oh no, I got to erase that. It's too big. So, all right, let's get started. And let me see. And Rhea, did you join us? Hey, yeah, she's there. She's still connecting to audio. So, and she's getting frustrated. So, Rhea, if you can hear me, can you put your thumb up? She's got really bad network issue. All right, so I don't know what's going on with her. We'll hope she'll figure this out. So let's get started. How this works is we go forward. I try to stop it every 10 seconds to 3 minutes, depending on how fast the person's going. If ever you want to stop, you just say stop. If ever you're confused, say stop. No problem. You can talk during this, no problem. You don't have to stay muted. The idea is to have fun so you don't feel like you're drawing by yourself. So we're gonna get Rhea, are you there?
Yes.
All right, hold on, let me stop the share just so you can meet Rhea. There's Rhea. And and let me do the screenshot really quickly while we're all here and before Rhea gets kicked off if she has bad internet today. So wave, everyone. I gotta close that. Close and awesome. And stand by. Smile, wave. Awesome, thank you. Beautiful looking bunch. Save as. 1 second. And this is BD friendly pencil. And what's today's date? 7/18?
17.
17/21. Okay, great. So please remind me to do another photo at the end, and we'll all show our final works of art. Really beautiful. And Rhea, we are recording this, just so you know. Okay.
Yes, I know.
Okay, cool. Let's get started. Dun, 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 dun. Share and begin.
G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza, and in this video we're going to be talking about constructing the human body for an illustration. Now when I say constructing, I essentially mean building it from the ground up or from the bones up. We'll get to that in a moment, but first I want to talk about something I've spent a lot of time and work on. So if you're interested in checking out my recent released ebook called Draw with Jazza Easy Anatomy, very much to do with what we're going to be talking about today, but it goes into a lot more detail, and it has a separate exercise book where you can print it up, do the exercises yourself and practice this stuff. And there's also an anatomy reference pack which has hundreds of poses of this male and female character here. So I just thought I'd get that out of the way. The link is on the screen and in the description. Go check it out if you're interested. Otherwise, let's get started. Now the topic of this video is specifically construction. When I say construction, I mean when you're going to draw a figure like this, you're not going to start off with the details. You're not going to start off with the outline and the structures and the details. We're going to build things bit by bit. And what we start off with is this, a skeleton. right? But we don't actually literally start off with a skeleton like this. We start off with a skeleton breakdown, and that's what I call construction lines. A lot of people use them. The reason we use construction lines in a drawing is because if I started off with, like, let's say, just the details of the eye, brow here, and then the nose and all this stuff, and add details, and we start drawing
That's amazing, isn't it?
Can really very quickly get
good.
out of proportion from one another because we haven't established how things are going to look in simple form before we add the detail. So when I talk about creating construction work, what I mean specifically is beginning with a construction skeleton. And I'm going to show you how I do this. We don't actually start off with a detailed skeleton like the version that we're seeing here. We start off with a really simplified skeleton, right? So I'm just going to drag some lines across so we can see the basic heights and all this stuff. And my task is now to create the geometry of the skeleton in as simple a form as possible with as few lines as possible. So what I do for the head is I break it up into two parts. We have the cranium, which is just a circle, and then we have the jaw, which we kind of add by.
Okay, so we stop the video and now draw that. And remember the size of your paper. Don't make the head this big. Make it small enough that you can finish and do the rest of the body. So that's just one big circle right at the top, and then two lines going down for the jaw. And then they converge for the chin. Okay, we'll continue.
Roughing it in there. And then I add two lines. We have the vertical and horizontal line. The vertical line indicates the direction that the head is facing, and the horizontal line indicates the eye level. And so you can see.
Oh, that's fascinating. The vertical line indicates the direction where the nose, like this. So if you put the line a little bit to the side, it'll look like the person's head. So that's pretty neat. Let's draw that. Okay, we'll continue.
How quickly that took to draw. That was my skull of this skeleton. Pretty easy, right?
So here, just to get some practice, the side, draw maybe 3 more of these, just so we let her get some practice drawing the heads. So you can kind of get muscle memory. You got the circle, the line, down, down, chin, chin, and then just the vertical line and the horizontal. Okay.
Next thing is the rib cage here. So as you can see, it's sort of this oval shape. If I was to draw it on top of the skeleton, it would hold that sort of a shape. And if I was to draw a very simple sort of construction skeleton.
So here, let's just do that now. There's that space between the neck and the torso. And you can create another one next door as well to those other 2 that you created. Okay.
It would just be that. Sometimes I like to add the convex of the rib cage here just to kind of show the shape, and sometimes I add a few indication lines of the direct.
Oh, that's fascinating. Huh. Ismail, are you still here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah,
Okay.
It's good.
Good. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Adverb. How about the rest of you? Everyone doing well? Ria, you doing all right? Yes? Good. Okay, we'll continue.
Direction and the angle of the rib cage. Next is the pelvis. So as you can see, the pelvis, I just use the same sort of thing. Sometimes I add a direction line, but mostly I just go with that. And these three.
Okay, that's just fascinating. Every time I draw, like when I would draw, like as Ismail said, stick figure, I don't think of the body as being the torso and then the pelvis, right? You don't think of it as that's two different parts. So that's really fascinating. You've got that top part, but then you've got this other horizontal part that's the pelvis. So let's draw that. Okay.
Three areas, the head, the torso, and the pelvis, are the largest groups of mass in the human skeleton. So we have the skull, the rib cage, and the pelvis. They're all quite large in area. Then working from there, as we build the construction skeleton, I use a few different shapes. So I tend to add circles for the shoulders because in the end, there'll be quite an amount of mass there. So I tend to build that up a bit. And then I also work with circles for where the hips start.
Okay, let's draw our shoulder bones, hip joints, and our hip joints.
Julia.
Okay.
And turn into legs. For the middle of the torso, I usually just go with a line. Some people actually go with another circle in the middle, but it's totally up to preference. And everyone has a different method of going about the construction lines. There is no right or wrong way. It's the means to an end, and you just want to use as reliable a method for your medium as possible.
All right, so I think since both of us, we all probably have two different torsos we've created, maybe try one with the line and the other one with the circle. And then you can decide later which one you think is preferable for yourself. Okay.
I then add a line for the neck where the spine goes, and sometimes I kind of add a little more mass there, start off with a bit of a thicker shape, but otherwise I work.
Okay, so do the neck.
With the limbs just like this. Add like a little circle for where the elbow joint will go, work the arms out like this. Then from there, I bring a line down.
All right, we'll stop. Focus on the arms for now. And remember, you can look at that skeleton to kind of see what the actual shape is. And keep an eye on these lines too. If you notice, the bottom of the torso and these two elbow lines are at the same, they're at the same place. Up here at the top, the shoulder, the top of the shoulders and the top of the torso all match up. And the hands all end up right at the bottom of the torso, of the pelvis rather. Okay. Remember to do it on your other person too, if you have a second one that you were doing. Maybe with a different arm pose, perhaps. Okay. We'll continue.
It up to a little joint in the knees and then a line down to where.
Okay, so the same thing now with the legs. Ismail wanted to do a stick figure, and this is kind of it. So I hope you're happy, Ismail. We at Break Diving,
Yeah.
we listen to our
It's
members'
easy now.
wishes and try to
Yeah.
accommodate them. He's not showing us the bottom of the leg. I want to see where
The legs end up going, and that is my human skeleton. Now, I know it seems quite simple, but from here, we essentially add chunks and work with shape to build the silhouette. So bit by bit, we're able to see our final result emerge, but it's a bit more of a gradual process. So for example, we start working in the shape.
All right, so before we go on, has everybody got a finalized person? Yes?
Yes.
A-okay? Ismail? And who Bety, are you there?
Yeah, I think I have missed the first step and then I'm not sure I can follow.
So which step are you stuck on? What did you miss?
From the first step, I already missed it. Actually, it doesn't show the YouTube video at first, the very first one.
Oh, well, are you
I don't
able
know,
to?
I
It's
don't
okay.
know why.
Are you able to look at this and copy
Yeah,
this
yeah,
to
yeah,
catch
yeah.
up?
Yeah, I try. I try.
Okay. All right, so we'll continue to go forward. So now he's going to try to add some, I guess, muscles to the bodies.
Of the shoulders and the arm, we roughly block out where the muscle groups will go once you start to learn how the muscle structures are built, but you also don't need to add in the details yet. So you don't need to worry about perfectly aligning the lines indicating muscles or anything like that yet, because we're just kind of adding mass.
Okay, so just slowly create the idea. So I guess what he's saying is don't worry if it doesn't look perfect. Okay.
So we just want to kind of stay slightly away from our construction work, create a bit of a gap just to show that there's a bit.
Okay, that's super cool. It's looking like it's starting to look like a body. Look at that. Fancy.
Bit of thickness between the bones and the skin. So we have muscle and then we have fat and all that stuff that kind of adds in layers. And as we can see, bit by
Don't forget the neck and shoulders up at the top too.
bit, we're building our silhouette and building the shape of our human. Now, the good thing about this method.
Okay, he just jumped a whole bunch. If you notice now, there's the whole leg in there. So
Little bit slow,
yeah,
too fast.
Okay, so we'll stop here until everybody's caught up. So you can just
Yeah.
look at the screen and you can see the places that you need to add the orange lines
Yeah.
to add the muscle. Remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. You're just learning. We're all having fun here. And each time we practice one of these friendly pencil events, we get better. And don't be afraid to use your pencil eraser if you need to. Now I know why we all have different body shapes, because as I look at my thing here, it's like the shoulders are a little bit, one shoulder's too big, the leg, and I realize God has a tough time making us. It's a difficult thing to make us completely symmetrical. Okay. Alice, how are you doing?
I'm not finished the muscle part. Half, little bit low.
So for those of the, just keep on going, keep looking at it, and try to do your best to bring those the legs all the way down, even though we don't see. He hasn't done the feet yet. Maybe we're not doing feet today. But I think you can just create those little square blocks similar to what he did with the hands. Okay. Milja, how are you doing? Good so far? Okay.
I
No,
don't know. How it
Rhea,
is.
yes, you too. How are you doing? Just some helpful hints. If there are 4 legs that you want to erase 2 of them, it's a human, not a dog. And that's the extent of my tip for the day. How are you doing, Alice? Almost caught up?
Yeah, almost finished the muscle part.
Okay. And remember, if you have a second one that you were working on, you can use this time to just kind of work on that and see how you can add the legs to. Okay. All right, we're gonna keep going. Just you'll be able to catch up because it's just adding on to what he's done here.
Is that it's really easy to do, and so if you're getting frustrated and you can't quite find the figure or the pose that you're getting to try and nail down, it doesn't matter because it takes so minimal time and effort to create this sketch skeleton that you can very quickly blast out a whole bunch of different trial poses and positions and forms and figures until eventually you find the one that works exactly the way you want it to work. And then when we get to something like the head, we can start roughing the outline, but we're already in a place where when we're sort of happy with how things are looking, that we can start adding the details. Again, we don't want to start doing the most intricately shaded features of the face possible as soon as we've finished our sketch skeleton. We want to kind of lump things on bit by bit. So roughly work with shape and silhouette and all that stuff. And then we have our human figure started.
So let me just go back, because you see that little part where the eyebrows are? Those are his eyebrows. And the eyes are directly on that line, that horizontal line right in the middle. You can see, boom, that's where, so you can draw those eyes in there and whatnot. Go ahead and try to work on that a little bit. Don't worry too about whether the face looks correct, because we didn't do a face lesson today, but just kind of, you can kind of give it an idea. And this part right here, if you see this is the hairline. So this is the forehead, and then you can see this orange part is the hairline. So you can just add that in there. Okay.
We have our human figure starting to be formed. And of course, we can kind of move things about and make sure that things are shaped in the right sort of direction. But overall, as you can see, I created a human figure in relatively minimal time. So I'm going to move this figure over here just so you can have that example for later. If you want to check out this reference file, you can download it by using the link in the description. And again, all these references and a lot more are available in the packs that I've released recently, both the ebook and the photo reference pack, which uses these figures. But I'm just going to, on these figures, use some construction lines to show you how I might break it down. So I'm going to make these guys a lot more transparent so I can draw on top of them and you can see what I'm drawing. And I'm just going to show you how properly proportionate human figures, as in these photos, can be broken down into simple shapes and geometry. So here we have the head, which we can break down into the two parts. We have the cranium and then the jaw. And because this is a bit of an up angle, the eyes are a bit more like that. Then we have the neck go down and the spine kind of curves along like that. So we position the rib cage around the spine there. We have a positioning line there, and then we have the bottom of the rib cage, and then the pelvis goes there, right? So you can see how.
So why don't we follow along with this too, to try to do this different figure, which is a little bit to the side. Starting with that circle again.
Quite easily, we're starting to build what our sketch skeleton looks like underneath the actual human form. And we want something that can consistently represent this figure on all different angles. So if you're starting to try and learn how to draw the human figure and you're really getting a lot more difficulty than you think you should have, in drawing the human figure on different angles, I really recommend either with photos of human figures or artwork of other artists you really admire the style of, doing this, really bringing down the transparency or even printing it on a piece of paper and with a thicker, bolder color or marker, drawing on top of it and breaking down into really basic geometry. And this will help.
So let's keep going. That's a great idea, actually, to do these Ismail stick figures on an actual human body. So what he's doing for the feet are triangles. I'm just noticing that. So that's a cool shape to do for the feet.
Help you understand how these shapes and forms all come together to create the finished result of what you're working on. Now, I will mention a quick note, of course, that males and females are obviously physically very different. So when you're approaching drawing a female, keep in mind that they have different forms and different solidities and all this stuff. So the male tends to be, especially in the cliche superhero or hero form, quite solid, quite tall and strong, broad in the shoulders. The female tends to be a little more dainty. So we draw the head the same way, but she's going to have a bit more of a narrow, smaller jaw.
All right, so your only target here should try to make sure that your stick figure for the male and the female clearly look like a male and female. So that's my mission, is to try to just make this female look like a female.
And while we still go about everything in relatively the same way, we have a few differences.
All right, so first, everything's the same for the head. So you can try that. And then the spine going down with that little bit of an S curve again.
First of all, the rib cage is going to be a little more slender and tall, and we're going to have more of a convex here. And the pelvis is going to be wider. So you'll notice that the female pelvis is wider than the male pelvis. That's quite obviously because they are genetically able to reproduce and have babies. So what I use as a bit of a key guide is that the width of the pelvis should be the width of the shoulders. Now that can of course vary, there are exceptions to the rule, but it's a good thing to sort of keep in mind. Whereas with the male, as you can see, the width of the shoulders is actually quite a bit wider than the hips. And it's just sort of something to keep in mind. It also gives you somewhere to go in the middle, so you kind of go a bit more narrow and then widen out at the hips again.
Okay, so go ahead and draw the shoulders.
So two other things to keep in mind when doing your construction work of a female body. First of all, there are these lovely things called breasts, right? Now, when we're drawing the construction work of the breast, I tend to use sort of a teardrop shape and work it on top of the things to keep in mind when drawing the breasts. I kind of use a reference line between the shoulders and have the bottom of the breast parallel to that so that we don't have wonky looking breasts. And then, of course, the other thing is that they're not all just big circles that pop out. They have a weight and a gravity to them. So we're kind of having them hang a little bit. They also merge at the bottom with the female chest muscle underneath the breast.
All right, so try to add the breast as best you can.
So we kind of have this line go out under there. And then the other thing to remember about the female torso is that we dip in here at the middle before we dip out. At the sides. Okay, so I'm going to go into more detail in that in the book and in the reference photos you can check.
Okay, so go ahead and see if you can finish the woman by actually putting the arms and the legs in the pose that you see here on the screen as best you can.
Check out and do all this exercise for yourself because there's quite a lot that you can learn, but the most important thing is to do a lot of practice. Anyways, as I've mentioned, you go out into your lines by just kind of sketching it out like this, and then eventually when we've finished our rough work, we can do the final poses from using this simple geometry as a reference. Anyways, that is my tutorial, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it's been useful. As you can see, the sketch work of the male and female on the right here ends up being extremely simple, and you can actually use this simplicity to end up with an amount of detail quite like that. Okay, so using construction lines to draw the human figure is one of the most useful things that you can possibly do. People do it in life drawing classes. I know animators and cartoonists do it to make sure that everything is consistent on every angle. Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to check out the ebook and the reference pack if you're interested in checking out more of that stuff. I've spent a lot of time and work on it. I really hope that you check it out and appreciate it. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video.
So thank you to Jazza. Those of you watching on YouTube, you can subscribe. I don't think he needs any more subscribers. He's got 5.6 million. I think he's doing okay. But we do appreciate him helping us with this. And we're going to jump back and 1 second. Why is that not going? It's very strange. I keep pressing the back button and it will not go back. Come on. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with that. Let me see some. Okay. Oh yeah, and here's the other one.
Hi guys, and
All right, so before we do this here, let's just show everyone, let's show what we did so far. So here are my people. There's, I don't know if they're, honestly, I have no idea. Are these good or are these bad? I don't know. They look like cyborgs, but it's a good start. Everyone else, put up your stuff. Don't be shy. We all want to see the stuff that you've done.
The first one.
Beautiful.
Oh,
And this is the second one.
Well, somebody's got some practice under her. Very good, Milja. That's gorgeous. Bety, let's see.
I can finish it. I can finish it.
Just show whatever you have so far. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I think you shouldn't be ashamed. I mean, whatever you did is really, really cool. Does anyone else want to share what they did?
But I
Really?
really
All right, no
But
problem.
look at these. They are good.
good.
That looks great, Ismail.
Good.
Very nice job. Right. All right, so somebody put a chat. I think I missed the first step and can't follow. Bety, did you figure it out
Mm.
more or less?
Less.
Is everybody having fun, or is anybody feeling horrible?
No, it's fun.
Fun? Okay.
Oh, it's
So-
fun. It's fun. Yeah.
We're gonna watch the next video. We'll try to go through it a little bit more quickly because now we know the basics. Grab another piece of paper. Okay. And keep everything that we just learned in mind. I think this girl Natalia is using a different method. I don't think we're going to do those outline skeletons. So we'll see, and we'll see. You can decide which method you prefer.
Welcome to another highly requested and long overdue tutorial on how to draw a body. Today I'll show you my way of approaching the body drawings, and I really hope that you're gonna find it helpful and learn some tips and tricks from me. Alright, so let's get into it. So for sketching, as usual, I'll be using my favorite Prismacolor Kohl Erase in purple and a Winsor & Newton sketchbook with Bristol paper. So my technique of drawing bodies is mostly based on dividing the body into geometrical shapes and then building the whole body drawing on that construction. And first thing I'm always doing is I'm lightly sketching the shapes for the head, torso, hips, and legs. And with this,
When she says lightly, she's not kidding. I mean, I can barely see it, but I think you can see. So what she's doing is drawing the circle here and then sort of a trapezoid below.
very light outline, I can right away see if the proportions I drew are good before I go in with any harsher outline.
So what's interesting is that it's the same exact thing. I remember that thing before. I noticed there's the torso, and then is the pelvis. So there are two parts of the body. I think that's the main thing I've learned from this so far. So see if you can go ahead and sketch that basically out very lightly like she did. And obviously she's doing a woman based on the way that the hips are drawn.
For the head, I'm just drawing an oval shape with two lines of symmetry, one going horizontally and one vertically. And I'm not gonna go in depth with how I draw head and how I draw the face, because I already did a tutorial on that, so please check it out if you want to know some more details. The link is in the card. Then for the torso, I'm always sketching this kind of trapeze shape that is broader on top. The two upper angles of my trapeze shape are going to loosely indicate the arms.
So the head's the same thing that the other guy did. Horizontal for the eyes, vertical for the nose.
Then I'm marking the hip area, and I'm also sketching a trapeze-like shape, but this time the broader part of it will be at the bottom. Next, I'm loosely sketching those kind of block shapes for the legs. I'm not paying that much attention to the legs just yet, but I'm making sure I'm marking the kneecaps in the correct place by drawing circles. And lastly, I'm sketching the arms. Their length should always be around the upper 1/3 of the thigh. So that's pretty much our correctly constructed base for building the...
Throw in the shoulders and the... And just like with the other guy, the circles for the elbows are right at the bottom of the torso. Ria, I don't know if Ria wrote that her network is bad and she can't see properly. She's right. She's drawing very lightly, so it might not be your network. It might just be that it's a little bit. It is difficult to see.
Actual drawing of the body. So now what we want to do is to add some volume to our construction. And here we need to be aware of the fact that human body doesn't have any straight and harsh lines or angles. Everything should be kind of rounded and flowy to give us that 3D effect that we're going for. And at this point, if you're a beginner artist, you might want to use some reference pictures to see how exactly the human body is shaped, so you can sketch it out minding every little detail, like for example, how wide the shoulders should be in relation to the torso, where should the cleavage area be in relation to the neck, and so on and so forth. I also feel like it's quite important to emphasize the fact that all of the bodies are different.
Okay, we can catch up with that. My girl has no neck, but that's okay. Necks are overrated. She looks like a ninja too. Maybe that's what it is. It's a female ninja warrior.
What I'm drawing and what I'm showing you today is my kind of most standard silhouette with the most neutral and basic proportions. You can always alternate your body sketch and its proportions by, for example, making the legs longer or shorter or drawing the hips wider. But this requires the knowledge of the proportions and basics of anatomy to be able to freely design all of the body types you want. But anyway, in this step, I'm just following the construction lines and I'm adding the volume to each part of the body, minding its curves and all the joints. And once I'm happy with what the sketch looks like and I checked if all the proportions are correct, I'm going to lightly erase the whole sketch with my kneaded eraser, and then I'm gonna take my mechanical pencil and I'm gonna outline the whole drawing again to refine it one last time. And this is how I managed to create a nice and clean sketch of female body by using, in my opinion, quite simple and intuitive method of dividing the body into shapes. And now, before we're gonna move on to a little bit more complicated poses, I'm gonna break down the shapes of each body part that we just drew to make it even easier and more understandable for you. So once we start with more advanced poses, you'll know how to approach them. So first we're gonna start with the torso. You already know that I drew it as a trapeze shape, but it's only gonna be this very straight trapeze shape when we're drawing a standing straight figure. If we wanna do a pose with some kind of movement of the body, our trapeze is gonna bend in lots of angles, sides, and directions. It might also get slightly broader on top in some occasions or slightly more narrow at the bottom. It all really depends on the pose. But it's really essential that you don't treat it as a geometrical figure that needs to be drawn using a ruler, but you should treat it as a shape that can be bent or alternated in any kind of angle or direction. And as you can see, I also like to use the lines of symmetry to mark the directions that my torso will bend towards. Next on, we have the pelvis and hip area. Here goes the exact same rule as with the torso. The trapeze we're gonna draw to indicate the hips should be also flexible and bendable. Always try to think of the fact that human body is not a piece of wood, but is actually very flexible and made of soft tissues that are three-dimensional. And here, when you're drawing hips, you always want to make sure that hips are in the correct place in regards to the torso. So that's why I'm drawing those kind of mini silhouettes to set everything in place and get a good grasp of all the proportions. And you can see that if the hip area is drawn correctly, you can basically come up with any kind of leg positioning you want and connect them with the hips. And now for the legs. I tend to draw them either as lines or some kind of blocks at first to later on add some volume to them. But here is also very important to start with the pelvis area to indicate the directions that the legs should go towards. And then, for example, if we draw our trapeze for the hip area and it's going up on one side and down on the other side, that will indicate the fact that also one of the legs should be placed higher and the other one should be placed proportionally lower. It's really hard to explain all of that, but I really hope that you guys can understand what I mean by both listening to me and looking at what I'm drawing. So now let's move on to the fun part, sketching.
Okay, my paper has a lot of sexy things on it right now. I'm just saying. Sexy pair of legs, gotta say. Ismail, do you have a sexy pair of female legs on your page too?
Yeah, it's looking great.
Excellent, excellent. I'll never be lonely again.
The poses. For the first pose, I want the whole weight of the silhouette to be on one leg. That means one of the hips should be also higher than the other one, and then the torso should be proportionally bent.
By the way, with this, just play around with it. Don't just play around with these shapes. The idea is just let's try to get comfortable with these different shapes of drawing, in this case, a woman.
Considering the curve of the hip area. I also feel like one of the hands should be on the hip and then the other one will be in a natural straight position, leaning on the side of the body. At the end, I'm drawing the head somewhere above the torso, just in the middle. I usually prefer to start with the head, but sometimes it's more convenient to do it in an opposite manner. Then I'm just gonna go over with slightly thicker outline, and then I'm gonna start outlining the whole body, starting with the head this time, because it's always the best to start with the head, like I mentioned, and it always sets the proportions for the whole body the best. Then with...
All right, so let's try to draw this pose here. We're going to be fashion designers soon. Throughout the break diving fashion line for stick figures of all shapes and sizes. Ismail likes that idea. He'll be my business partner.
my previously mentioned technique, I'm outlining the construction, adding proper volume to the body, and minding all curves of it. One trick I can really recommend is if you want to draw a certain body pose and you just can't find a proper reference picture, just stand in front of the camera or in front of the mirror and strike the same kind of pose you want to draw. Then you'll be able to notice every little detail and the things we tend to forget when we try drawing body from memory. And I can't really stress enough how this little trick helps while drawing bodies, because sometimes it takes hours and hours to find good reference picture. And while you always have your phone on you and you can always take a quick picture and then just base your drawing off of it. So that's really simple and I really recommend that. But anyway, once I'm happy with the body sketch, I'm outlining the shape of it with the mechanical pencil. And then I have a great base for further details and creating a full illustration with it. Next pose will be slightly turned to the side and it will show a bit of like walking movement. Again, I'm starting off with 2 trapeze shapes and an oval for the head. I'm already thinking about the directions and the sides my body will be pointing towards. Then I'm sketching a couple of lines for the legs and hands. I'm constantly checking if everything is proportionate in relation to the other body parts. Then once the construction is complete, I'm adding the volume to the body and I'm creating the silhouette. I always like to add those little details like the collarbone indication because it helps to set the proportions between the head, neck, and the chest. I also like adding a slight curve to the breast area. I also like making the crotch area visible because it really helps when you're drawing jeans, for example. And then I'm also marking the kneecaps because that just sets everything in place. And well, this is how our second silhouette is completed. And for the last pose, I want to sketch a girl that is turned to the side, opposite to the one we just drew. And she's gonna have a slightly more static and stable
What's
pose,
so funny,
with
Milja?
her legs being placed slightly wider on the
Quite
ground.
fast.
Here, the process.
What?
Well, quite fast to do all the
Well,
poses.
I'll stop here.
Do we do them all? I'm at the first one.
I'm kind of just doing whatever I can do as well. I don't think we can. If you want, do we want to go back? Do you want to stop?
No.
So just take a look and do
Yeah.
the one that you want and try to get a.
This is exactly the same like with 2 previous silhouettes. Here the tricky part are going to be the legs. The torso is slightly bent to the back and the hips are rather straight.
I'm trying to do this third one. She looks like Frankenstein. The other ones are okay. This one doesn't look human. And I don't know why.
So the legs should be placed in. in such a manner to balance this situation that is happening with the torso. The legs should give you a sense of stability and balance when it comes to this pose, so the natural thing is that they would be slightly spread apart to counteract the bend of the back. And even though this pose might seem like it's quite easy, it was honestly the hardest and the most tricky one of these three, even for me, because this leg situation is quite complicated and you need to figure out the best way to balance your whole body weight. And well, this is pretty much how we created the third and at the same time the last body pose. And well, that is basically all for today's body tutorial. I really hope that you guys found it at least a little bit helpful and that it's gonna help you out to improve your body drawings. And besides all of that, please remember the most important thing. Practice makes perfect. And even if you won't be able to draw a perfect silhouette at first, just be patient, put time and effort into it, and I can guarantee you that after you do 20, 50, or 100 sketches, it will only get better and better. So well, that will be all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and well, good luck with drawing and practicing, and I'll be seeing you very soon in my next videos. Take care.
Well, thank you, Natalia. We love you too. And awesome. So I'll show what I did. Not too bad. I'm happy with what I did, except for this one that looks like a Frankenstein. Really looks like a zombie, right? A zombie is walking. That's what I meant.
It has that. I think it has that like fashion pose where they put the shoulders in front.
Oh. If only it were intentional. But I like this one's nice. That girl, and that pose looks pretty good. And
That's good.
Looks like she's kind of like in a bikini or something like that. And I don't know, confused, maybe about to get abducted by aliens. And this one, not bad. Anyway, who else wants to show what they did? Come
Terrible.
on. Don't be
Fine.
shy.
Not rude. Wow. Good.
Those are beautiful.
Yeah.
Really great job, Milja. Very nice.
They're not really portioned. The portions are not correct, but
At
never
least
mind.
they don't look like zombies that are being abducted by aliens. Bety, Ismail, Alice, do either of you want to show?
Happy.
All right, so Ismail first. Let's see, Ismail. Here, wait a second. I think, let me see if I can spotlight. Can I spotlight? How can I spotlight him?
Yeah. Can you pin it?
There we go. All right, put it in front of the camera.
Yeah, okay. This one.
Look, those are great. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
My
Alice,
Second is mine here.
Alice, let's see yours. Higher.
Yes.
Ah,
Beautiful. Your guy on your left looked like my body looked like it was being abducted by the alien guy on the left.
This one?
No, the other one. The one in the middle looks like human. The one on the other side looks kind of like an alien figure face.
Yeah. No
Great
good.
job. Very, 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 very good job. Bety, do you want to show?
I didn't finish it.
Let's see. You drew more lightly than even she did. I can't. It's hard to see it. Can you turn it so the light hits it? There we go. There we go. Come closer. Closer.
What's that?
Those are great. I can see it. Good job. Very good job. Here. Let's see yours again, Milja. On the big screen.
yes.
Those are great.
Yeah, good.
I want to know why this woman is walking down the street naked like that. That's very very concerning. And here I'll show you mine again, so you can see in the bigger screen. So,
Yeah.
and so how do we stop? Stops, remove spotlight, removes. Who, does everybody see Milja?
Hmm?
Hold on, how do we, why do we see Milja on the screen? Does everyone only see Milja?
No.
Oh, now it's switching based on who is talking, I
Hmm.
think. Oh, there we go. Okay. Oh, maybe that's a personal setting. I don't know. Anyway, let's everyone hold up the drawing that you're most proud of that we did today. We're going to put it in the community so everyone can see some of the stuff that we did. And let's see. I think I like this one more.
That's it.
Ismail, Ismail. Okay, stand by. 3, 2, 1, smile. Beautiful. Cool. Take this shot. And file, save that. File, save as. Let's see. BD, friendly pencil. And today was, say the 17th? Yes. We'll do it A, the second one. Awesome. This was the first time for Ismail, Bety, and Milja at the Friendly Pencil event. What did you think?
Yeah, I think it's fun. Although I've been doing how do you say it in English? Like the only thing I've been practicing is to a live model, like classical training. So
Oh,
but I have like but yeah, so anything else is hard.
so then the next time we'll do something. We always change it up. So next time we'll do maybe a car, Lamborghini, or an airplane, or a boat, or a landscape.
But it
something.
was different because I'd be used to like seeing the model and then measuring all the bits, and then now trying to just kind of from the head. Yeah, that's totally different.
So, good. Bety, what did you think? First time drawing since elementary school. Did you have fun?
Yeah, this is fun. Actually, I cannot follow, but it is fun because when I draw and then I see my drawing is very ugly and I can laugh by myself.
Tell you this, I think everyone got lost at some point during this thing. And it's again, the main thing, it's fun. You're trying to have fun and you're not competing with anyone else. I'm not competing. We all know that Milja is clearly the most talented here at drawing bodies. And guess what? She may stink at doing something else. Maybe
there's no really talent. I don't think there's a talent in drawing. It's just practicing.
I do agree with you. I don't think you really need. I think that's the case with almost anything.
Yeah.
If you practice, if I stink at basketball, it's not because I'm untalented. If I really studied, I could probably learn how to play it pretty well. I just don't really have a desire to do it.
Yeah.
And so you guys have, I mean, when I first started the friendly pencil things, well, I shouldn't say like when I, as a student, we started participating. I mean, I've come such a long way. And I look at some of the things that I did originally, and it's just every single time you learn a little bit, even though you don't realize it. I mean, we all learned something today. I will always remember that the human body has the torso and a pelvis. Wow, that alone is going to make drawing bodies a lot easier, right?
Yeah.
So great job, Bety. How about you, Ismail? Did you have a good time? Well, Ismail disappeared. Did you have a good time, Ismail?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. Yeah. It's a great event.
Awesome. So let me stop
First
the
time,
recording.
yeah, first time I'm.
I hope it's the first of many. For those of you guys on YouTube, we hope you'll subscribe, click like, share. And if you want to participate in these yourself, come to breakdiving.io and join our community. Everyone wave goodbye. Bye.
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 Bye.